Welcome into Four Verts. My name is Harrison Graham, and with just 5 weeks left in the NFL season, I do a little NFL playoff predictions here. Not like who's going to win the Super Bowl, but which teams are going to make the playoffs in the NFC and in the AFC. This is how the NFC playoff picture looks through Week 13. The Bears, Rams, Eagles, and Bucks are the top four seeds as they lead their respective divisions. The Seahawks, Packers, and 49ers are the three wild card teams. Pretty crazy that a 9-4 team is the seventh seed right now. Detroit, Dallas, Carolina on the outside looking in. In the AFC, the division leaders are the Patriots, Broncos, Jaguars, and Ravens, while the wild card teams are the Chargers, Colts, and Bills, with the Texans, Steelers, Chiefs, and I guess if you want to throw Miami, but not really, on the outside looking in. Maybe Cincinnati in the AFC North, but a long shot there as well. If you're fired up about the playoffs this year, like this video, I'm pretty excited. I mean, this is kind of one of those years in the NFL where it feels pretty wide open. There's no true dominant team right now, so hit that like button if you're fired up for the NFL playoffs this year. Okay, let's start with the NFC. Who gets the number one seed? It's kind of crazy when you compare conferences. In the NFC, to me, there's still 6 teams that have a shot at getting that top seed. You've got the Chicago Bears, who currently hold it, the Rams and Seahawks, who are duking it out in the NFC West at 9-3, the Niners as well at 9-4, the Packers, who are a half game back of the Bears in the division, and they play each other twice in the next 3 weeks. And then I'll include the Eagles here. They're actually 8-4, typo there on my part. But all those teams are within a game of each other, so they're all still in the mix. I do think the Rams end up getting it because they have a pretty reasonable schedule the rest of the way. They do have to go to Seattle on a Thursday night football game here in a few weeks. But if they win that game, they got Arizona twice. That's 2 wins they should get. I like their chances getting Detroit at home. They're going to beat the Falcons in Week 17. So if they win in Seattle, they're probably going at least 4-1, which means they'd be 13-4, if not 14-3. I think they've got a manageable schedule. I still think they are the most top to bottom talented team and coaching staff in the NFC. I will give the Rams the nod to get the top seed in a first round bye. And again, that Rams Seahawks game is going to be huge. The winner of that game could very well get the 1 seed and win the division. The loser probably on the road in the first round of the playoffs. Okay, other division winners. Who are going to win the NFC North, East, and South? Let's start with the NFC East as we continue to progress here. The Philadelphia Eagles sitting on top for now at 8-4. The Dallas Cowboys at 6-5-1. And then the Washington Commanders sitting there at 3-9. The Giants at 2-11. Obviously, it's just the Eagles and the Cowboys right now. The NFC North, the Bears sitting at 9-3, the Packers at 8-3-1, the Lions at 7-5, and then you've got the Vikings at 4-8. We'll circle back to the East in a second. Focus on the North here. The Bears, pretty tough, right? They got the Packers twice in the next 3 weeks. Do have the Browns in the middle there. That's a game they should get. Fairly easily, although Myles Garrett can be a handful. At San Francisco Sunday Night Football, that Week 16 Saturday game is primetime slot now as well. And then Week 18, Detroit at home. So 4 of those 5 games, pretty tough matchups. You look at the Packers, also tough. They got the Broncos in between those 2 Bears games. Ravens at home, and then at Minnesota. So other than the Vikings game, but even on the road, you never know. That's not easy either. And then the Lions, who need to probably win out to have a chance to win the division. Cowboys this Thursday night. That's a huge game for both teams. At the Rams, Steelers at home, at Minnesota on Christmas, and then at the Bears. Again, this Dallas game on Thursday going to be very, very big. If you had to predict it, who is going to win the NFC North? Is it going to be the Bears type CHI, the Packers type GB, or the Lions type DET? Get your votes down in the comment section below. I do think it's between the Bears and the Packers, and I'm going to give the advantage to the Bears. Let's say Chicago and Green Bay split. I think that's a very reasonable outcome, right? Well, again, that game in between, remember who each team has. The Bears have the Browns at home. The Packers go to Denver. That is a big difference. So if they split and the Bears beat the Browns, which they'll be favored at home, and the Packers lose in Denver, which they'll likely be a road dog, that game could be the difference, that Week 15 matchup, if they split these two games. So I like the Bears to win the NFC. Going back to the NFC East here, Eagles at Chargers Monday night. They do get the Raiders at home. They get the Commanders twice with the Bills squeezed in between. So 3 of those 5 games on paper, you would think they would get the Raiders and the Commanders twice. But divisional games, you never know. The Commanders just went wire to wire with Denver in prime time with Marcus Mariota. Jaden Daniels could be back in those games. So I wouldn't just lock that in, but pretty reasonable schedule. And they may not have to play Justin Herbert this week. Dallas, again, that Lions game Thursday night, that feels like it's a loser leaves town game. Vikings on Sunday night the next week, pretty manageable game at home. Chargers, you get them at home, coin flip game, but you get them at home. At Washington, divisional game on Christmas, you never know, but I like Dallas there. And then at the Giants, they're in shambles. So, that Lions and Chargers game going to be big. If Dallas splits those and wins the rest, 10-6-1, does that win the division? Is that enough to close the gap? I'm going to go Eagles. They win it by 1 game. I think the Eagles get to 11-6. They find a way to win 3 out of their final 5. And then Dallas ends up 10-6-1 and is a half game back in the division. Okay, NFC South, Tampa and Carolina. Obviously, the 2 teams here, Atlanta feels like they're basically done. Saints already eliminated. Let's take a look at the Bucs schedule here. They got the Saints at home this week. Obviously, have to win these next 2. Saints and Falcons at home. That gets you to 9-5. Then you go to Carolina and Miami, then return home to Carolina. So if you're the Bucs, you split the Panthers and then win your other games, you win the division. It's pretty simple. I mean, that's the math right there. Carolina, they've got their bye week this week. Then they go to New Orleans, a team they lost to at home. Obviously, you can't afford to get swept by the Saints if you want to be a playoff team. Then you got the Bucs at home, Seahawks at home at Tampa. I just think that Seattle game being in the mix there too. I think Tampa's still the better team. They've got the easier schedule. I think the Bucs win the South. I think if Carolina's going to win the division, they're going to have to sweep Tampa, and I just don't see that happening. A split is all Tampa needs, and I think they'll get at least that. Okay, let's get to the wild card teams. Which teams make the playoffs as wild card teams? I like the 3 currently in there, but I'm going to flip 6 and 7 because the Niners have an easier schedule than the Packers, as my producer gives me the 6-7 little dance thing, whatever you want to call it. Seattle, I do think they lose that game with the Rams, but I think they hang on to the 5 seed there. San Francisco's the 6, and then Green Bay is the 7. That's how I think it ends up playing out, which means I've got Dallas and Detroit on the outside looking in, left out of the playoffs. Okay, here would be the round 1 matchups. Again, I'm not predicting these, but this is how it would shake out. Rams get the bye. Bears, Packers for the 3rd time in 6 weeks. That would be juicy at Soldier Field. Eagles, 49ers in the 3-6 game, and then Buccaneers and Seahawks in the 4-5 game. All really fun matchups. Remember earlier in the year, Bucs Seahawks, that was an electric game up in, I think that was in Seattle, wasn't it? That one. So this one would be in Tampa. So we'll see if it plays out that way. And again, Dallas and Detroit, first 2 teams out. The winner of Thursday night has a chance. Loser is in major, major trouble. All right, we'll get to the AFC and my predictions there coming up here in just a second. But today's show is sponsored by Turtle Beach, the #1 brand in gaming headsets and accessories. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and under the tree, a gift was waiting, one that would change every game from then on. Remember what it felt like to unwrap your very first headset? That joy, that thrill of plugging it in and stepping into a whole new world? Give that same experience all over again with Turtle Beach, the Gen 3 Stealth 700 headset. This is more than just a gift. It's the ultimate throwback to those holiday mornings spent gaming from dawn to dusk, but this time it's better. No more tiny mics or muffled sound, just crystal clear audio, immersive surround sound, and an insane 80-hour battery life that keeps the fun going long after the Christmas lights come down. I've personally used Turtle Beach's headsets and other accessories for years when I play video games, whether it's a sports game and feeling like you're in the stadium, or games like Fortnite and Call of Duty. I'm ahead of the curve thanks to Turtle Beach. Beach. Get the ultimate immersive gaming experience with Turtle Beach today. For a limited time only, go to turtlebeach.com. Use code CHAT for 10% off your order. That's 10% off at turtlebeach.com with promo code CHAT. Don't delay. Get the perfect gift now. Happy holidays from our friends over at Turtle Beach. All right, let's shift gears to the AFC now. Who gets the number 1 seed? You got the 11-2 New England Patriots and the 10-2 Denver Broncos. It's really down to these two teams at this point in time, which is crazy to say. The Patriots have their bye week here. Then they get the Bills at home. Obviously, they win that. They pretty much lock up the division. At Baltimore week 16, and then a couple of games they should win at the Jets, and then the Dolphins at home. Meanwhile, Denver has an easy game this week against the Raiders on the road, but then Packers at home, not easy. Jaguars at home, not a layup. At the Chiefs, if the Chiefs are still alive, they are going to be in complete desperation mode. And then the Chargers week 18, the Chargers might be fighting for a playoff spot then. So it's an easier path for the Patriots, in my opinion. They already do have that 11th win. Who do you guys think ends up getting the number 1 seed in the AFC? Type NE for the New England Patriots or DEN for the Denver Broncos. I do not like New England. I think they find a way to at least split Buffalo and Baltimore, and then I think they'll win their other 2 games, and that'll be enough. That'll get them to 14 wins. 13-4 might even get it done, so I like the Patriots to get the top seed in the AFC. All right, who wins the other divisions? I do have Denver winning the AFC West, so we won't focus on that one. Patriots, Broncos win their division. So AFC South, AFC North. We'll start with the South. It's getting tight. Jags and Colts both at 8-4, with Jacksonville currently holding the tiebreaker. Then Houston, all of a sudden, they've won, I believe, 4 in a row. They are 7-5. Tennessee, obviously, completely out of it. Jacksonville's remaining schedule, big one this week against the Colts at home. They get the Jets at home after that. Then they go to Denver. That's going to be a tough game. Then back to Indy, and then the Titans at home. Jets, Titans at home. Those are 2 games they should for sure get. If they get one of these against the Colts, they're going to be in a pretty good position. The Colts, obviously, those 2 games with Jacksonville we just mentioned. At Seattle week 15, that's very difficult. 49ers, that's very difficult. At Houston, don't look now. The Colts, they're already slipping. There's no gimme left. I mean, they could go 1-4, hell, even 0-5 wouldn't shock me the rest of the way. And then the Texans, huge game this week. Kind of like that Dallas-Detroit game. This is a loser-leaves town game between Houston and Kansas City. Cardinals at home, Raiders at home. So if the Texans can beat the Chiefs, they can get some momentum here. Then they go to the Chargers, then get the Colts at home. I think it's going to be the Jags. They have the easiest schedule, especially compared to the Colts. You could argue the Texans, but with a game in hand on Houston, if Jacksonville splits the Colts and wins those 2 games against the Jets and Titans that I mentioned, I think that's going to be enough to win the division. Okay, let's go to the AFC North now. Is it a 3-team race? Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, only 2 games back. They looked pretty good in Joe Burrow's first game back. You take a look at the Ravens' remaining schedule here. They still have the Steelers twice, this week and in week 18. They go to Cincinnati, who they just lost to at home. Patriots at home, at the Packers. No gimmies there for Baltimore. The Steelers, meanwhile, in addition to the 2 Ravens games, easier games in between. Dolphins at home, at the Lions, at the Browns. So I like how the Ravens are playing better than the Steelers, but the Steelers do have a little bit more of a manageable schedule with that Miami and Cleveland game in there. And then you got the Bengals' remaining schedule at the Bills, Ravens at home, at Miami, Cardinals at home, Browns at home. I'll say this, Bills and Ravens, if they somehow won both of those, I think they're winning out. That could get you into the playoffs at 9-8. You might win the AFC North. I'm still going to go with the Ravens, but I don't love how they played the other night on Thanksgiving, and Lamar just doesn't look right to me. I think he's clearly hampered by the hamstring and ankle injuries he's dealt with this year, and is having to be more of just a pure pocket passer, which he can do, but it limits some of the things they like to do offensively. Subscribe to the channel. We're bringing you guys daily NFL content all year long. College football videos as well. The playoffs are just over a month away. Do not miss out. We're going to be here every single day. Okay, lastly, the wild card teams. This is where it gets interesting. It feels like it's narrowed out a little bit in the NFC from a wild card standpoint, not so much in the AFC. I'm going to say the Bills get the 5 seed. The Chargers get the 6, and call me a sucker. I think the Chiefs find a way. I think they go 4-1 or 5-0. Houston this week's the key. They have to beat the Texans. I think they will. Backs against the wall. I think they'll find a way. It's at home. I think the Colts continue to slide. The Chiefs rally. And the Colts are the one team the Chiefs have the head-to-head tiebreaker over with as well, with those teams in the mix. So I think Kansas City rallies, puts on their Superman cape, and I think the Colts continue their slide, and they're on the outside looking in. What say you? Will the Chiefs make the playoffs? Type Y for yes, or you can type in for no. Give me your votes down in the comment section below. My name is Harrison Graham. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of For Verts. We'll be back soon with another video. We'll see you then.